Boker Tov, good morning. It's wonderful to spend our time together again this morning. I hope it's a bright day inside. It's a little bit of a gray day outside. It's the joys of trying to do things online. We've had so many sunny days. I'm trying to figure out my lighting when we in fact have so much light, less light from outside. Well, it's wonderful to have a morning. That every morning we're brought from the darkness into the light, just when we wake up and are together each morning. So it's so pleased for us to have this time to say together, Boker Tov from Temple Sinai. It's wonderful to be here again together this morning and to have this time to connect, to reflect, and to remember. And this morning, as we gather together on this 10th day of Nisan, on the second day of the month of June, we continue our journey and seek to find our place in the morning. In many ways, I think that's what the morning prayers, the morning davening is for, is to give us a chance to find our place in the world. And our place, first of all, is here, is to be the point of connection between spirit and physical within each of us. And so in honoring that, let's join together in this prayer for body and spirit, Yashir Yatzar. Let's join together again today in the English. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer is itself a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. And we continue showing gratitude for the mind as we recite the blessing for Torah study. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. V'ha'arevna Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha b'finu v'v'fi amcha bet Yisrael, v'niyeh anachnu v'tze'etze'enu v'tze'etze'e amcha bet Yisrael, kulanu yodei shemecha v'lomdei Toratecha lishma. Baruch atah Adonai hamlamed Torah le'amo Yisrael. And let's continue with this text for study, that at a time where the basic order of our society needs strengthening, let's recite these words that help remind us how to do that as well. Elu dvarim she'en lahem shi'ur. These are the obligations whose value cannot be measured. They nourish us in this world and help us to create the world to come. Kibud av va'em, to honor fathers and mothers. Ugmilut chasadim, to perform acts of love and kindness. V'hashkamad bet hamidrash shacharit ve'arvit, to attend the house of study morning and evening. V'hachnasat orchim, to welcome the stranger. Ubikur cholim, to visit the sick. V'hachnasat kala, to provide for brides and grooms. V'levayat hamed, to keep faith with the dead. V'vi'un tefillah, to pray with sincerity. V'hava'at shalom ben adam lachavero, to make peace when there is strife. V'talmud Torah keneged kulam, and the study of Torah is equal to them all. Well, we continue now with words of prayer, words of Torah, words in which our Torah offers us an opportunity to affirm unity in the world, in ourselves, and in God. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha. Ve'ayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavcha hayom al levavecha. Ve'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam. Ve'shivtecha b'veitecha u'b'lechtecha b'derech u'b'shochbecha u'b'kumecha. U'kshavtam le'ot al yadecha ve'ayu letotafot bein einecha. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Adonai Elohechem Emet. And so aware of so many difficulties and upheavals in our world, but especially of the violence that continues to rage in the United States for our whole world, for us. We join together in our prayer for peace this morning as well. Give us peace, goodness, and kindness, love, and loyalty. May these blessings come upon all Israel and every nation. Eternal God, source of loving guidance, bless us with your presence. Only in the light of your presence do we receive a living Torah, directing us toward loving loyalty, righteousness, blessing, and mercy, life, and peace. At each moment and for all time, may it be good in your sight to bless Israel and every nation with true shalom. Eternal God, we praise you as the source of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, oseh hashalom. And so now, as we've joined in a few of our prayers and prepared a bit for the day that is to come, we now have the opportunity together to turn back to Cheshbon HaNefesh, to this book from the Musar tradition, from Rabbi Menachem Mendel Levine of Satanav, who provides this amazing work, Cheshbon HaNefesh, an accounting of the soul, that gives us an opportunity to consider a number of different steps, a number of different elements in our examination of ourselves and in our desire to live a fuller life, a life where we are able to take in the blessings around us and contribute blessings to others. Especially this morning, as we'll be discussing the third of these 13 different midot, different aspects of ourselves or steps. We start back at the beginning, the first of those being menuchat hanefesh, equilibrium, the challenge to rise above small events, whether good or bad, that are not worth throwing off our spiritual equilibrium. Just as we saw that the first day, in our second day, we added to that savlanut, patience, that when something bad happens to you that you could not have avoided by being careful, don't make it even worse through pointless sorrow. Now, each of these first two steps are very much internal. They talk about our attitudes, about our thought patterns, about our emotions. Emotions are challenging, as he discusses in his book, because they come from an aspect of us, an aspect of our soul that we need to respond to and manage, but that emotions are not something that we can control, except for better to strengthen ourselves, not to be dragged, if you will, too high or too low. But today's step is actually something more physical and outside of ourselves, and something which I admit that I personally find a real challenge with. The word is seder. Seder, not like, it's the same word as the Passover Seder, but Seder in regard to Pesach doesn't mean a service, it means order, right? That there is an order of things to be done that evening, just like our prayer book is not called a prayer book because prayer is not in a book, it's in us. But it's called a Sidur because in order for us to find our way each day, it helps to have an order. And that is Menachem Mendel Levine's third category for us to work on, is Seder's organization, or as he says it in one simple phrase, let all your doings and plans be orderly, each one in a fixed time and place, so that your mind will always be free to address what is before you. I think a lot of us, especially in the modern world, tend to rebel a bit against too much order in our lives. I know I have this inclination within me that it helps to have a messy place. that it helps to have somewhere, that it doesn't have to be so orderly. And I don't think he's telling us that every single thing needs to have its own place. And yet I think the message is a clear one, that if we want to live an aware life, a conscious life, a life where at any given moment we have an even higher possibility of being able to say, wow, how do I bring my best self to this moment? Not just whatever self I happen to be. Then having our life, our day, our world organized is an important and positive step. That every moment is filled with possible distractions, possible things that might awaken within us emotional places that, while valid and part of us, might distract us from a moment of great potential. We need to have equilibrium, to have that balance between our emotional selves and our spiritual selves and our rational selves, all of which contribute to the spiritual place that we can occupy when we are present. And when our world feels physically chaotic, it affects our ability to be spiritually settled, to be focused, and again, to bring our best selves. And so certainly having rituals throughout our day, rituals that give us an opportunity to say a blessing before, after we eat, to give us a moment to pause. When we have a new experience, to say a bracha, a blessing, to appreciate that. The whole system of blessings is one that gives an order to our moments. But in his sefer, in his book, Cheshbon HaNefesh, the accounting of the soul, he also talks very plainly about ordering the places and the objects in our lives so that we minimize distractions. And this, as I mentioned, I personally find it to be a challenge, but I'm grateful to have the opportunity to reflect on this and learn on this with you this morning so that it might inspire me to bring a greater sense of order to my day-to-day places and my day-to-day self, and therefore feel even more ready and settled and patient in order for us to have the opportunity to share all that's best in ourselves and in our world. It's a great challenge, each one of these, and there are 13 of them. So in his book, he doesn't tell us do one and conquer it, do another one and conquer it. He challenges us rather to create a chart, one that I'll put up on the screen at some point, so that in any given day or in any given week, while aware of a number of these factors, we might choose for a period of time to work on one of these factors and give us a chance to focus and to mark our own progress. Each day is another day, is a new creation. God is Amachadesh B'chol Yom Tamid Ma'aseh V'Leishit. God recreates the world anew every day. And yet at the same, even though there's new possibility in the world every day, there's also very much a sense of continuation. And so I hope these teachings, as Sam is pointing out, this book is available, I think, in a Feldheim publication in Hebrew and English together. It's good volume, although I'm going to continue to share pieces of it here. I hope that we can use these moments to inspire us to live life to the fullest, to find within ourselves what it is we need, what it is we can offer to those around us. And in a way, that sense of need, as well as that sense of generosity, of righteous giving, is what we mark when we say our prayer for refuah, our prayer for healing, where we bring to mind those in our world, those who are facing illness, those who are, whether that illness comes to them when they are young or at a later stage of their life, whether it's part of an ongoing illness or an acute challenge or infection. In each one of these cases, I'm thinking of members of our community whom I know of who are challenged at this moment, and who I can be included in this moment of prayer for all of us. I hope it can include all of those in your life who might be in need of strength or healing, and especially for all those who in every different way are on the front lines of the different challenges and battles that are happening in our world today, in which we struggle to have a life of blessing and goodness, and to share that in a righteous and just way for all. It's in that spirit that we turn to these words of refuah. Mishaber Chavotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah v'Rachel v'Yirapeh et kol makutenu Yiratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu lachalimam olarapotam Yishlach lanu mehera u'refuah shlema v'teret shalom v'nomar Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all who suffer. May it be the divine will to provide healing and strength. Reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom, and together we say, Amen. And so now we take a moment here on this 10th day of Sivan to remember. We remember those who died in recent days and weeks, those who died at this season in years past, and all those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. In the last 30 days, we extend our condolences to the families of Oved Ben-Ari, Andrew Kosman, Paula Rich, Susie Matei Veda, Esther Siskind, Cheryl Okarofsky, Irving Coven, Julius Bell, Diane Novak, Bill Schmelzer, Ralph Rothstein. And we remember all victims of terror and violence, including Amit Ben Yigal and George Floyd. It is our sad duty as well to report the death of our Temple Sinai member, Anita Fleischer, mother of Cassie, Felice, and Jonathan Fleischer. The service will take place today, the 2nd of June at 10:30 a.m. at Pardes Shalom Temple Sinai section. On your site this day, on the anniversaries of their deaths, we remember Seymour Applebaum, Harry Batcher, Toba Drucker, Ethel Hirsch, Lillian Josephs, Ann Katz Fabish, Pearl Nassina, Mildred Rosen, Elka Rubenstein, Samuel Shapira, Sandra Shaney Silver, Samuel Silverstein, William Sobel, Irving Strom. Zichronam Livracha. May their memories be a blessing to us. Our griefs and our sympathies are mingled as we turn together to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope in the Kaddish Yatom. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba, ve'alma divarach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'vizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehe shmei rabba mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, ve'amiran be'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and bring comfort and strength to all who remember. And together we say, Amen. Boker Tov, make it a wonderful day. It looks a little darker outside, so let's all help all those in our lives that we contact with today feel a little brighter, a little lighter, a little better. Boker Tov.